Have you ever looked in the mirror and asked yourself, why don't I feel good enough? Why do I constantly second-guess myself, shrink in conversations, and walk through life like I'm apologizing for existing? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, that feeling? It didn't come out of nowhere. It was built, brick by brick, habit by habit. And today we're going to tear that wall down. But before we get into it, I want to ask you for something simple. If you've ever felt like confidence is just out of reach, or like you keep sabotaging your own potential, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and watch this video until the very end. Because what you're about to hear could change not only how you see yourself, but how she sees you. Yes, she, the woman you want. The one you're chasing. Or maybe the one who doesn't even know you exist yet. Confidence can change your love life, your career, and your entire self-worth. And it all starts by stopping the 5 toxic habits, killing your confidence, often without you even realizing it. Let's dive in. Habit number 1, seeking validation like a drug. Let's get real for a second. When was the last time you did something just to impress someone? Not because it mattered to you, but because you were hoping for that hit of approval. A compliment, a like, a good job, man. Yeah, we've all been there. I want to tell you a story. There was this guy I knew. Let's call him Alex. On the surface, he seemed fine. Funny, likable, always trying to make people laugh. But underneath that charm, he was starving. Not for food, not for love, but for validation. He couldn't go 10 minutes without checking his phone. If someone didn't respond to his text quickly, he'd spiral. He'd buy things he didn't like, wear things he didn't even feel comfortable in, and nod along with opinions he didn't agree with, just to avoid rocking the boat. Because deep down, Alex didn't believe he was enough on his own. He needed someone else to say, hey, you're okay. And if they didn't say it, he felt like he wasn't. And maybe you feel that way too sometimes. Maybe you find yourself constantly refreshing your notifications after posting something online. Maybe you feel a little invisible if nobody compliments your new haircut. Maybe you say yes to things you don't want to do. Not because you want to be helpful, but because you're afraid of not being liked. That's the trap of validation. It's a high, a rush, but like any drug, it fades fast, and every time it does, you need more of it to feel whole. But here's the problem. You will never feel confident if your worth is outsourced to other people. Because people are inconsistent. One day they love you, the next day they're distracted. And if your sense of value is tied to their mood, you'll always feel like you're walking on emotional eggshells. Confidence isn't built on other people's approval. It's built on your own acceptance. You want to be magnetic? Start liking yourself, even when no one's watching. Wear what makes you feel good. Speak the truth you believe. Move through the world like you don't need applause because you don't. You were born worthy, but somewhere along the way, life made you forget that. The teasing, the rejections, the silence, they convinced you that you had to earn approval just to matter. But not anymore. Today's the day you start taking that power back. Validation feels good, sure, but don't need it. When you can give yourself permission to be enough, just as you are, you stop chasing approval and start radiating something far more powerful: authenticity. And let me tell you, that's what people are truly drawn to. Not the guy who begs to be liked, but the one who stands tall whether he's praised or ignored. So let me ask you, when was the last time you looked in the mirror and gave yourself a genuine nod of approval? Maybe it's time you did. Habit number 2, overthinking every move. Let me ask you something, and then be honest. How many times have you watched life pass you by, not because you weren't ready, but because you were overthinking? You see a woman you're attracted to. Your heart says go, but your mind starts whispering, what if she thinks I'm weird? What if I say the wrong thing? What if everyone sees and I look like an idiot? So instead of moving forward, you hesitate, you stall, you freeze, and before you know it, the moment is gone again. I knew a guy once, Jordan, brilliant guy, kind, decent looking, but you wouldn't know it because Jordan was stuck in his own head. He'd overanalyze everything. Should I text her this emoji or that one? Should I say hi or will that seem desperate? Should I approach now or wait until she looks more relaxed? His life became one big calculation, and 1,000 missed opportunities. And here's the thing about overthinking. It's not intelligence, it's fear, dressed up as logic. You think you're being careful, smart, strategic, but what you're really doing is avoiding the risk of discomfort. Because overthinking gives you the illusion of control. It convinces you that if you can just figure it all out in your head, you'll never have to feel rejected, embarrassed, or wrong. But guess what? Confidence doesn't come from figuring everything out. It comes from facing what you don't have figured out and doing it anyway. Think about a confident man you admire. He's not fearless. He's just not paralyzed by fear. He acts, he speaks, he moves, not because he knows the outcome, but because he's okay with whatever happens. And that's what makes him powerful. Let me put it to you like this. Confidence isn't built in your thoughts. It's built in your choices. The more you hesitate, the more your self-doubt grows. But every time you take action, and even a small one, you chip away at that doubt. You start proving to yourself, I can handle this. And the truth is, most of the things you're overthinking, they'll never happen. The rejection you fear probably won't be as bad as you imagine. The embarrassment probably won't even last 10 minutes. But the regret, that lasts a whole lot longer. Overthinking is like sitting in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere. So here's your challenge. Next time your brain starts spinning in circles, pause, take a breath, and do the opposite of what fear is telling you. Approach, speak, try, not because you're sure, but because not doing it costs you even more. You want to be confident? Then you have to risk being uncomfortable, because confidence isn't the absence of doubt, it's moving forward despite it. So stop rehearsing your life like it's a script. This isn't a dress rehearsal. This is it. Show up, mess up, get better, and most of all, stop overthinking and start living. Habit number 3, comparing yourself to everyone. Let's talk about something we all do, even if we don't admit it. You open your phone, scroll through social media, and there he is, the guy with the chiseled jawline, perfect abs, the luxury car, and a girl on his arm who looks like she stepped out of a magazine. He's smiling. He's winning. He's everything you think you're not. And just like that, your whole mood changes. Suddenly, you're not proud of your new job. Suddenly, your gym progress doesn't feel like enough. Suddenly, you start questioning whether you're even worth being noticed. I know that feeling because I've been there. It's like every time you see someone doing better, you shrink a little more. You feel behind. Invisible. Like you missed the memo on how to be enough. But here's the thing. I want you to remember and hear this like I'm saying it directly to you. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You don't know the full story. You don't see the fights behind the smile. You don't see the debt behind the car. You don't see the pain behind the pose. That guy you're envying, he might be miserable. He might trade places with you in a second just to feel peace. But comparison blinds you. It tricks you into thinking life is a race and then you're already losing. It's not. Your journey is yours. And no matter how slow it feels, as long as you're moving, you're growing. Let me tell you about a guy I met, Marcus. He spent years chasing the ideal. He wanted to look like a fitness model, earn like a CEO, and charm like a Hollywood actor. But in trying to be everything, he forgot how to be himself. He burned out. He lost weight in a way that wrecked his health. He spent money he didn't have to look rich to people he didn't even know. And worst of all, he still felt empty. Because no matter how much you try to measure up to someone else, it's never enough. Because it's not your race. You want to know what real confidence is? It's not beating every man around you. It's beating the man you were yesterday. It's choosing growth over comparison. It's saying, I might not be there yet, but I'm on my way. So next time you see someone who seems to have it all, don't shrink. Admire if you must. Learn if you can. But then bring it back to you. What are you building? What can you control today that your future self will thank you for? Comparison kills confidence because it makes you feel like you're already behind. But the truth? You're right on time. Your life isn't late. It's just yours. So stop scrolling and start showing up for your journey. Because the moment you stop trying to be him is the moment you finally start becoming you. And that version, that's the one the world and the right woman has been waiting to see. Habit number 4. Shrinking to please others. Let me ask you something that might hit a little deeper. When did you learn that being too much made people uncomfortable? Think back. Maybe it was when you spoke your mind and someone rolled their eyes. Maybe it was when you showed excitement and they told you to calm down. Maybe it was when you shared your opinion and got silence in return. So you started dimming your light, speaking less, smiling more, agreeing just to keep the peace. And over time, it became a habit, a way to survive, a way to stay safe. But here's what no one told you. You cannot shrink yourself into someone else's comfort and still expect to feel powerful. I knew a guy named Leo, quiet, easygoing, always agreeable. People liked him, but nobody respected him. He got passed up for promotions, ghosted after dates, because even though he was kind, even though he had a good heart, he didn't have presence. Why? Because he shrunk himself to fit other people's expectations. He thought that playing small would make him more likable, but it only made him invisible. And maybe, just maybe, and that's been you too. You say yes when you want to say no. You let people walk over your time, your energy, your boundaries, because deep down, you're afraid that if you start taking up space, they'll leave. They won't like the real you. They'll say you've changed. But let me tell you something. The version of you that hides to keep others comfortable is not the version that builds confidence. That version is afraid, controlled, small, and you weren't built to be small. Confidence doesn't come from being agreeable. It comes from alignment, saying what you mean, standing on your values, and choosing self-respect over shallow approval. The truth is, not everyone will like you, and that's okay. Let them not like you. Let them walk away. Because the people who are meant for you, they'll respect your boundaries. They'll admire your strength. They'll feel safer around you, not because you're pleasing them, but because you're being real. Look, being kind is beautiful. Being generous is powerful. But being a doormat? That's not confidence. That's fear in disguise. And here's the ironic part. The moment you stop trying to be liked is the moment people start liking you more. Because authenticity is magnetic. There's something unshakable about a man who knows who he is and refuses to apologize for it. So if you've been shrinking, and stop. Speak up, take space, set boundaries, not with anger, but with self-worth. And if someone leaves because of it, that's not your loss. That's clarity. You weren't made to be everyone's favorite. You were made to be true, and confidence grows the moment you give yourself permission to be that version, unapologetically. So ask yourself, are you living your truth, or just trying to stay small enough to be accepted? Because the second you stop shrinking, the real you can finally rise. Habit number 5, avoiding discomfort at all costs. Let's get honest for a second. How much of your life has been built around one thing? Avoiding discomfort. You don't speak up in meetings because it might feel awkward. You don't approach that girl because rejection stings. You don't try something new because failure scares you. So you play it safe. You stay in your lane. You convince yourself that someday you'll be ready, that when things feel easier, then you'll act. But what if I told you this? That someday never comes. And confidence? It's not found in the easy. It's forged in the uncomfortable. I want you to imagine a guy named Nate. Nate hated discomfort. He avoided conflict like the plague. He stuck to the same routine for years, and same job, same friends, same mindset. Because change? Change felt like chaos. But as the years passed, something started to eat at him. Not regret over failure, but regret over never even trying. He realized he had built a perfectly safe life, but it was also a perfectly small one. He never felt truly alive, because comfort zones might keep you safe, but they also keep you stagnant. And I'll be real with you. If you're serious about building unshakable confidence, you have to stop running from discomfort and start running toward it. Think about the guys you admire. They weren't born bold. They just got comfortable being uncomfortable. They spoke when their voice trembled. They tried when failure was guaranteed. They took hits, got back up, and kept showing up anyway. Because confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the repetition of courage. Look, discomfort is life's way of asking, how bad do you want this? And most people, they fold. They retreat. They choose short-term comfort over long-term growth. But not you, not anymore. The difference between the man who grows and the man who stays stuck? It's not talent. It's not looks. It's not luck. It's tolerance for discomfort. Because when you step into situations that stretch you, something powerful happens. You start to realize I didn't die. The awkward conversation, you survived it. The rejection, you handled it. The failure, you learned from it. And piece by piece, your identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who avoids life and start becoming someone who faces it. So let me ask you, where have you been avoiding discomfort? Where have you been shrinking, hiding, hesitating? Because the temporary sting felt scarier than the long-term regret. That's where your next level lives, right on the other side of that fear. Confidence doesn't come with guarantees. It comes with willingness. The willingness to speak, even if your voice shakes. The willingness to act, even if your knees buckle. The willingness to stretch, even if it burns. So stop waiting to feel ready. You won't. Do it before you're ready. Do it because you're scared. Do it and prove to yourself that you can. That's how you build confidence. Not by avoiding discomfort, but by stepping straight into it and discovering just how powerful you really are. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.